Hi everyone, today I decided to make quick update about my rotting orchid, which I showed you how to put it to rot. I put in sphagnum moss months ago, and I want to show you what happened with that orchid, what kind of success I have and what changed, and where I keep. First I want to show you where I keep that orchid, where I grow. Here is my shelf which I grow my African violets. Here are my baby African violets which are rooting, and here my Christmas cactus, and here is other cactus, and here is my Hoya. It's hanging over there, and over there my Hoyas also, and I have lots of Hoyas here and there. In other room I have everywhere my plants, and on there I have frozen begonias. They were naked, now they started growing their leaves. As you see, they're happy now, they started blooming. And I have here calancho, which blooms for me all the time, non-stopping. And here I have cactus, my aloe, different kind of flowers. Here I have Valentine's Hoya. I forgot its full name. Okay, and here I have my orchid, which I showed you, which we put together in this greenhouse, and it's sitting on top of my African violets. Here in these boxes, in these bags, I have African violet leaves, which I'm propagating now, and on top of this this orchid is sitting, and this is the place where these plants can get daylight, and afternoon I put on this light, and afternoon they get growing light. And let's take this orchid and we will open together this bag, and I will show you what I did. I will explain you what I did with this orchid after placing it in this greenhouse. Now I brought this orchid and put this orchid on this table. It's lighter here. You can see everything on this table, and don't pay attention to these orchids which I have on this table. These are my orchids which I found from trash. I showed you in my video, you all see. And this orchid I want to show you now, and I will explain you what I did after when I placed it in this greenhouse. Do you see this bag? It's I changed its bag. I put it in shopping bag with you, and then after 3 days I changed its bag because it's in that shopping bag. It's uncomfortable to see every time. I have to open and see what's going on there. But on top I put this, this bag which is from bread. You see why I put this? Because it has small holes. If you can see, it has tiny holes, and my orchid can breathe through this, and I can see easily what's going on with my orchid, and that's why I changed the bag. After 2 days I changed the bag, and I put here, and I will open this bag and you will see surprise here. You see, first this orchid, when I came from Florida, when we were back, I right away ran to this orchid. I wanted to check, and I found out this leaf which was growing from the center. You see, it's big enough now, probably 1 inch or smaller than the inch. And you see these roots? Do you see this? Small roots. It started growing roots, and I will tell you what I did. And here you see it has lots of roots growing from each side. I think 5 roots it has now. 1, 2, 3, 4 roots. 1, 2, 3 and 4 roots it has right now. And I will show you the roots of this orchid. Do you remember these roots? I didn't cut these strings. I took only velamen from this orchid. And do you remember this stem, which I cleaned and I put I washed it with potassium permanganate, and this I left some roots, this kind of roots in this orchid. I didn't cut, they were still green that time. And after every day when I placed this orchid in this greenhouse, after placing, every day I checked constantly, probably 4 days I checked constantly what's going on with the roots. And if I see some bad smelling roots, I right away remove them like this. Now it's not coming out because it's super dry, you see, and it's not harmful to this orchid even. But that days were dangerous days because this orchid was rotting and it was smelling so bad, like decayed potato. And I left some roots like this kind of roots with this orchid, and I placed it. I made hole here. This is my tiny orchid which I broke from Cattleya Orchid, okay, and I made here small hole and I placed this orchid like this in this small moss, and I covered the roots like this. You all remember, if you watched my previous video, you remember that. And after 3 days, when I removed this dead parts of roots, it came to my mind that I have to put some rooting hormone in this place. As you see, I made little bit moist this part, and I put some rooting hormone, this rooting hormone, and I placed it back in this sphagnum moss. And now you see it started growing roots. Yesterday these roots were small, tiny, and this moss was super dry. It was not, I didn't moist it probably for week and more, because we were in Florida, and it stayed very dry under the lamp, growing light. And when I sprayed yesterday this moss, these roots, they grow very fast. Yesterday they were tiny, small roots, and today, as you see, they're bigger and they're visible today. Yesterday they were like this, and today you see these roots grow, and they grow so fast. And today I'm gonna moist it again. I will show you how I do it. And what I want to tell, I don't want to forget, you see the wrinkles, it's little bit, it's not dying, it's still strong. You see, its leaves are not fluffy, and they are straight, strong still. And what I did, when it was in this sphagnum moss, every time when I check if I see the moss is dry, I spray it like this, and I take this orchid and I spray the moss, and every time I turn this orchid. For example, today I put this way and I cover the roots again, and I spray again like this. And next time when it needs to moisten again, I take this orchid again, I place it other way, because this side becomes wrinkly And when I change its position, when I turn it every time when I put some water, this side becomes strong, and next time I find out this side is wrinkly and I change its position, like I turn every time when I water, and you see it didn't lose its strength and it's still strong, and its shape is in its place. You see how it was? Now it's still like that. It didn't lose anything. It's strong. And every time I turn, because I turn it every time, and I place it back and cover its roots, and spray again. Sorry. I spray like this, and I make moist the top moss only. I don't make it very soggy. I just spray on top, and every time when it needs to be sprayed, I spray again and I turn it. And what I want to tell you, you know, everybody has his own method to root the orchid. Some people put in water, some people put in stones, and they spray every day. But this method, it's for me, because I'm very busy. I study, I have kids, and I have other duties to do. I cannot be busy always with this orchid, and I place it, and sometimes when it needs water, I spray water, and it can be maybe once a week or once in 4 days, and that way I rooted this orchid. In 1 month I saw this new leaves, and I saw this new roots. It's very good progress. And you see, this orchid wants to live, and it's healthy, strong again, and I hope it will bloom for me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe my channel if you didn't subscribe yet, and please put thumbs up if you like this video, and share with your friends, and be with me, follow my videos. I will update my other orchids which I'm doing now with these trash orchids. I will show you everything, good things or bad things which is going on with my orchids and with my other plants. And happy gardening, bye. And I forgot to tell you something. I placed this orchid on February 27th, and today is April 4th, which means months ago I put this orchid, and in 1 month I saw this progress. I finished with success, as you see, and I have to show you how I fix this bag on top with rubber band. You see, every time when I water, I open it, and when I want to see, I see through this bag. It's very easy if the sphagnum moss is moist or it's dry. I don't need to open the shopping bag every time and see what's going on inside. This is comfortable, and that's why I put this bag, and my orchid is breathing in this, and I can easily see my orchid. If it needs to be sprayed with more water, I spray, and I can see easily that it's doing great. And you see, everything you can see through this bag.